Rochester's good. I don't know if any of that bleeds out to surrounding areas. What's the broadband situation like in these communities?
We have fiber and everything.
Okay. All right. Well, so you're good. Okay, good.
But we don't make the connections.
Yeah.
We're good internally.
Yeah.
We have to get something slower.
Sure.
The rural areas are tougher.
Yeah.
More spotty access.
Yeah.
So.
I think we've got challenges. I'll launch forward with one thing. We've got a regional economic development effort referred to as the Journey to Growth effort. Mm-hmm. Many of us sitting here at the table, including our board members on this end, but many of the rest of us are on committees. I happen to sit on one which is Transportation and Communications Committee.
Yeah.
With regard to economic development, we are doing some rather innovative things, but we also do need some help. And it's one thing being able to move goods and people out of the region or to go to Minneapolis if they want to work. But not everybody wants to live in Minneapolis. They really like to live in southeastern Minnesota. Mm-hmm. They love to live in the communities that we have all across the region. Mm-hmm. Christian's group is very adept at being able to move people and bodies on great buses and move them not only from Minneapolis to come into southeastern Minnesota to work, but also moving people around the region. Mm-hmm. So we've got some tools that are in place. We're going to continue to expand those. But one of the biggest challenges that we have is a person that wants to live in XYZ small community that is in southeastern Minnesota that wants to be connected to his colleagues in Singapore has a really tough time doing it because we do need help in being able to make that communication effort work seamlessly as well as for the bandwidth that we need. I'm not a communications expert. Fortunately, I've got folks here that can probably speak to that more broadly than can I. But it is an issue that we're trying to come up with creative ways of not only moving people in and out of the region, which helps our economic development, helps manufacturers that we have in the area, service providers, be able to get the people that they need to be able to grow their business and grow our economy. But we also need to be able to move them around the area and physically move them around with some kind of regional transit tools. So continue to look for those. But Lee, even if you can talk about it with regard to communications, I'm not sure how kind of where we stand.
I will say on the transportation side, what Christian is doing with his buses, you also have broadband on the buses so that they're Wi-Fi.
There's Wi-Fi. Even, I can speak to that a little bit, I guess, in terms of, at this point, the availability of consistent wireless internet strength is a huge challenge for us, and really limits some of the routes that we're able to put those services on as the available infrastructure. We don't want to provide a service if we can't do it well, right? You want to do a good job, which that reflects. We know we can provide the bus service fine, but we're not necessarily communications and broadband experts. So we're kind of sometimes have to limit what routes we put that on because we know you're going to hit dead zones and you're setting yourself up for failure if you're going to offer a service knowing that it's not going to perform in the way that customers are hoping and expecting it to.
Sure.
Yeah, from an economic development standpoint, broadband is just as important as water and sewer and roads.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what I've heard from some of the folks we work with, the formulas, whether that's a universal fund for telephone or somehow those regulations with the FCC, coordinate with the local providers, having some clarity with those rules and some sustainability, but predictability, maybe on how those funding streams from that end are going to move forward, so that they can serve those more remote areas of Fillmore County, Houston County, wherever that might be, or wherever you're bus on get into the bus, and it gets really tough, especially with even cell phone service for that matter. So.
I like what you mentioned about it being important for where folks want to live. This is something we've heard in other communities where they think that they've got a lot to offer, in terms of being a great place to live, and careers are changing where you don't necessarily have to live where you work anymore. There's a lot of work from home capabilities, and they think they could be a big draw if they had broadband access to offer. And so that's definitely something where, we've heard a lot of the business case. Obviously, businesses need the connection. That should be obvious to everyone. But the residential case, the work from home case, is huge too. It's also education. It's it's kids doing homework. It's everything's online these days. It's healthcare. It's yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yep. Yeah, so we've kind of heard it from every asset. It's not really a luxury anymore. You need it, and you need it everywhere. You need it on your buses. You need it on your farms. You need it just about everywhere.
Well, HBC, or Hiawatha Broadband, is moving more this way and north. I see they're up in Red Wing and coming right over Highway 14. And hopefully we'll have a challenge with Charter, because Charter is not the least expensive way to be able to in Rochester. In other areas, in Winona, Charter is about half that price, but even less than that, because Hiawatha Broadband is there. How do you stimulate that kind of growth business? Let the entrepreneurs be able to work it out. Now, are all the taxes that are collected on our cell phone bills and on our Wi-Fi bills, are they really dedicated to doing these sort of things, or do they just go into the general fund? Like perhaps in the state of Minnesota.
I don't know about the state ones, but the federal ones, I'm not even going to try and hazard a guess, but I'm reasonably confident they are dedicated to the broadband fund, because it used to be telephone that went to build out universal service of telephone, and now it's been shifted to broadband. I'm not going to make any promises, because that's not my area of expertise by any means, but I'm reasonably confident those are dedicated. If not, they probably should be.
I'd be willing to bet that they are not dedicated.
Okay.
Only because the only tax that's been reversed over the last 5 or 8 years is the telephone tax that was started to pay for the Spanish-American War. They finally eliminated. No, look it up. I'm absolutely serious about that. So, and where did that all go? For whatever reason. I mean, I don't mind paying use tax, but make sure that it's used for the intended purposes. And it's almost shameful what happens in the state of Minnesota. I'm not that familiar with the federal side of it, but
sure,
how they can take money out of the county coffers and the other city coffers and then put them into the general fund rather than to use them to the specific side.
I'd encourage the senator to look at or reach out to the local broadband or service providers. There's a lot of small providers, small relatively term, I suppose, but there's a lot of smaller companies in our area that do wonderful things. So there's a lot of challenges.
Yeah, we do. I know we talk to them a lot. Our broadband staff in DC has pretty good relationships with most of the companies in the state. So, but there's always room for more, and we always want to encourage folks to talk to us if they're engaging with the federal government, for sure.
Are you familiar with, I think it's Minnesota Connects? We did a presentation in Red Wing a few months ago, Journey Growth and DMC, and there was another presentation, and it was, I don't know if it was a senator from somewhere up north, maybe, that was pushing this Minnesota Connects, which was the touting broadband for the state of Minnesota, and I wasn't sure if you guys had heard of that. Because it kind of fell off the map. I haven't seen or heard anything since.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that may be something that
they called it through the deed.
I don't know.
Could have been. Joy, it was Red Wing Ignite and we're at Ignite. Remember that Schmidt? That guy who was talking?
State Senator.
That might just be.
That's who. I remember. Yeah.
That might just be his initiative, honestly, but.
Because he's been really active with the broadband.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was, if you were hearing anything in your areas.
I haven't heard about that one.
Actually, I mean, just to follow up, I believe there's a meeting tomorrow in Pine Island about that, and yeah. 1 o'clock, I think. 1 o'clock, yeah. And that's hosted by Senator Schmidt. So that might be his.
Okay.
But, yeah.
The last piece I want to touch on, I mean, we can obviously go back around on any of these things that you want to. I want to make sure we touch on housing. I know housing, we've heard a ton about